Hi friends, in the previous video we have seen what is Spring Boot and what are the most commonly used annotation into the Spring Boot. Then we have downloaded the STS, that is Spring Tool Suite, and the Postman. So in this video we are going to see what is Apache Derby and how to use it. So basically Apache Derby is an in-memory, or we can say embedded database, which was introduced by the Apache Foundation to perform the persistence and the database operation into our application. Because Derby database engine, it's full functional relational embedded database engine, and it's supporting JDBC and SQL as programming APIs. It uses IBM DB to SQL syntax. Okay, so why we need in-memory database? So whenever we have RDBMS database, so the best use case of it whenever we are working on temporary data which is coming from any external resource and it is not constant, it is varying in each time. So in that case, instead of use other DB, we can go for embedded database, because in embedded database data will be available until the your application is on. Once your application is off, all data will be clean as it is storage in your local memory. So in such case we can use in-memory database, or else one more use case of this Derby database we can consider, which will be more helpful when we create the unit test case. Normally when we are running unit test, it will hit the controller, then the controller to service, and then it is again hit our own DB. So the thing, why this test data I will save in my own database? Why not I will save it into embedded custom DB provided by framework itself, so that we can save our memory and will get the performance. Because every unit test case, it will not goes to and hit our own DB through the entire flow controller service. So in such case also we should go for in-memory database. Okay, so let's check how in-memory or how this Apache Derby we can use to retrieve the data from the database. So let's do one example using the Apache Derby. Let's create one Spring Boot application. So let's create a sample project for the Apache Derby. Click on File, select New, and click on this Spring Starter project. And if it is not visible here, then you can click on to the other and search here Spring Starter project. Select this, click on the next. Here it will provide like this UI. Here I am going to use I have the Java 8, so I am going to use it Java 8. Here you have to provide the group. Here I am going to create a project, for example for product. We are using this, and the same I am going to use as package name. In the artifact ID I will going to add like this product. This will be our project name. Here also I will give the product, and next here you can put your description, like here I am going to use the Apache Derby using Spring Boot application. So the things are done. You have to just click on the next. Here it will provide you one, that is Spring Boot version. You can, if you want to use any other version, then you can go for that, but here I will use the default version, which is the stable version. And then here what we needed, the first thing, we are performing the web application, right? We are calling this REST APIs through the web, so we will need one Spring Web. Then the second thing is we are going to perform the database related operations, so we will need the JPA, so Spring Data JPA. Then the third thing we will need is Apache Derby. Here you can see in the SQL you will get the Apache Derby database, and with this we are going to use the DevTools also, because each time we don't need to run our application, we just save our application and the Spring Boot DevTools will restart our application. So these four things that we need in this project, and I will going to click on next and then finish. Now it will download the dependency. It will take some time based on your system speed and based on your internet speed. So the project is created successfully. Here you can see com.product is our package name, and in that we have the product application, that is our main file. And in case if you found like this similar error in the pom.xml like this, then just open this console, click on the problem, and here you can see the errors are unknown, so it means the error we can delete, it is unknown. If it is the major error, then we have to resolve that. Now you can see the error is removed, and if we try to run this application using the Spring Boot app, here it is giving error like 8080 port is already in use. So what I am going to do is I will go in resource, and in the application property here I will mention my server port, and here I am going to use 9090 instead of 8080. So if you face similar kind of problem, then either you can restart your Spring Boot application or you can mention the port manually. And now I am again going to restart this application, and now our application is started successfully on the port 9090. So let's come to the browser and let's see it's working or not. Localhost :9090, and I will enter. So here you can see the page is not found, but our server is working, because if I run the same into with another port like 9091, then it will going to give you error kind of page like this. So here we are getting this, means our application is run successfully. So now let's try to build one API. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create one separate package for the controller. I'm going to create one class that is controller, and here we are going to use product, so I am going to name it as product controller, and in the com.product.controller package I want to insert this class. So side by side it will create one separate package, and in that it will insert this controller. So what I am going to do is we are going to create the REST APIs, so I am going to use the REST controller annotation. And if you don't know what are the annotation and what is the use of this annotation, then I have already created one separate video in which I have already explained all the annotation which we are going to use for this tutorial. So here what I am going to use is I am going to create one test API. For that I will use the request mapping. In that we need the two parameters. One is value and second is method. So in the value we have to pass the our API name, that is here I'm going to give the test, and the method is like which method we are requesting. So we have to use the request method, and you have to specify here like which method you are going to use. So here I am going to use the get method, and now I am going to create one method for this like public. Then I'm going to return the string, and then I'm going to give here the name of the API. Here I'm going to return like this is test API and it's working fine. Here it is giving error. Let's see. Okay, we have not imported, so we have to import this. Once it's imported, we are ready to run this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this project, and here you can see the project is started automatically. We have to not stop it, and again we don't have to run it manually. Why? Because we have used the DevTools. So it's again run on the 9090. Let's see into the browser. In the 9090 we have one API that is test. Just run this. So here we get the output, the test API is working fine, right? So now let's moving ahead. We are going to perform the CRUD operation on the product. So what I am going to do is I am going to create one model for the product. So here I am going to name it as product, and I am going to create one model, or you can create entities package in which you can put this product. So here I am going to create one model package, and the class name is product. So let's finish. It's created one class, right? So now what I'm going to do is we have to specify here the parameters that we are going to insert into this product. So I'm going to use string ID, then the name will be there, then the cost of this product will be there. So for now I'm just taking these three parameters. Now let's start creating the constructor for this. So we will create the one superclass constructor, then we will create one parameterized constructor for this. Here you have to select all the fields, click on the OK, it will create the constructor. Now we have to create the getters and setters. So let's click on this generate getter and setter, select all, click on OK. So here you can see our getter and setter class, the constructor, default and the parameters are ready with this. Now I want to make this product as the class, as the table. So that's why I will going to annotate this as entity, that will create a table for this, and name of that table will be product. And this ID I want it to be unique, so that's why I'm going to annotate it using @ID. If you want to use some different name for the table, at that time you can use like this annotation table, and in that you can pass the name of that table. Like I want like this product, then I can specify like this, but here I don't want to do this. I will just provide the entity, so it will make the table with name product, and ID will be the unique. So now we are going to create one repository. So let's create one interface, name it as product repository, and I want to put it into the repository folder package. So here com.product.repository, and the name of the interface is product repository. So just finish this, and it's created successfully. Now what I'm going to do, I want to perform the CRUD operation. So let's implement one interface, extend one interface, that is CRUD repository. Either you can use CRUD repository or the JPA repository. CRUD repository will provide you help to perform the operations like create, retry, update and delete, whereas JPA repository will provide you some additional feature, like if you want to flush the database at that time, the JPA repository will be helpful for you. But here we don't want to do that thing, so we are good with CRUD repository. Now it takes two parameter. The first will be the model name, that is product, and the second will be the ID of which type. Here we mention this type of ID as string, so here we have to mention the string. So with that we are ready with repository. Now what we are going to do is, in our controller we are going to create method for adding the product into the table. So let's use the same request mapping. Later on we will change this request mapping to get mapping, post mapping, delete and put mapping. We have to understand each and individual line, so that's why I'm explaining you by this way. So here request mapping, and value will be suppose add product, and second parameter is method. So we are going to use here is post, because we want to insert the data into the database. Now whatever the product we will add into database, that same I want to return, and the name of this method will be product. Now what we have to do is, we have to auto-write this product repository, so that whenever the Spring Boot application will run, at that time it will create the pins into the IOC container. So that same we have to inject into our REST controller. That's why we use here auto-wired and product repository. So this product repository we have to return like dot save, and in this we have to provide the product. So from the front end side we will get one product in the response body. So let's get that product, request body. So from the postman we have to send this product in the JSON format. Here using request body, it will take that, and that we are going to save in using the product repository. So this repository will provide us the facility to do the CRUD operations. So we are good with this, and now I'll going to save this, and here you can see it's started running, because we are using the DevTools, so we don't need to stop and run. We just need to save and it will start. It's running on 9090 port. So let's come into the postman, and here use localhost your port number 9090, and we are going to add the product. Now we are using the post method because we have to add the data into the database. Then in the body we will use the raw, where we will provide the data into the JSON format. So let's take what are the column name, like ID. So here we have to specify ID, and that is of string type. So suppose here I will provide 1. Then the second parameter is name and then cost. So here I will provide name. The name, this parameter should be same as the column name. Then in the name I'm going to provide like mobile, and the last is cost. Suppose the cost will for this mobile will be 1000, and I'm going to call this API, but you will get one error. Let's see what is that error. Here it is giving the error like unsupported media type. We are sending the JSON format, but how the application will know which format we are sending? So for that we have to specify in header the type of the content which we are sending. So we are sending here JSON, so content type will be application JSON. Now let's call this API once again. So here we got the response 200, okay, and the product is successfully added. Suppose I want to add this charger, suppose, and the price will be, cost will be 200. Again I will click on send, the product will get added into the database. Now I want to see which all the product I have added into the database. So for that I am going to create one more API, that is to get all the product list. So for that we are going to create one request mapping. The value will be get all product. We want all the product. Then method will be get, because we want the product from the database, so that's why get. Now here we will get the list of the product, so that's why I'm using the list. Then the name of this method will be get all product. We have to import this list. This comes into the java.util package. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to return product repository dot, we have to get all the products. So for that what we can do is, like, we can create one more product list, and we will create one object of that, and new array list, it will be kind product. Now this product repository dot find all dot for each, and in that we have to iterate each product. So product, and we have to add that product. So this will return us the list of product. Because now this is the product which is list. Now in the product repository we have, in the repository provide one method like find all, and using for each we are adding each element into this list. If you know about the for each, you will understood it properly, and that product we are returning from here. So let's see whether it is working or not. I saved it and it's running. So it started on the same 9090 port. Now I'm going to use localhost, my port 9090, and I want to get all product. So the method will be get, and I will call this API simply. So as I told, Derby, we are using Derby database, so it will clean the database whatever it previously exists. So for that we have to enter the data again. So first I will going to enter the charger, then again the mobile. Now if we call this get all product, at that time you will get the list of product, 1 for mobile and 2 for charger. So here we learn how we can get the list of product. But what if I want the product by specifying its ID? Now here we have two product, so I want only product 1 by specifying its ID. So let's see how we can achieve that. Again I'm going to use this request mapping. The value will be, value means its API name that we have to specify into the URL, get product by ID. This name also should be, this URL name also should be meaningful. Then the method will be request method dot we are getting, so get, and here public we are getting will return the product, so product, and name of the method like get product by id. So we have to specify the id as well, so for that we will use this like this slash id, and that id we will get using the path variable. This is the string, so that's why string. Now what we have to do is we have to return this product, so for that return product repository. Let me minimize this. Product repository dot find by, it provides one method like find by id, in that we have to provide this id. Let's save this. For that it is returning, so that's why we have to mention here like dot get also. Like this. Just save this and let's see it's working or not. So it's started running, so it is running on 9090 port. So let's see it's working or not. So the URL will be localhost 9090 slash get product by id, but here we don't have any product, so first we need to add the product. I will add one mobile, then one more I will add like charger, and the cost will be 500, and let's see it's working or not using get all product. We are getting two products, so now what we have to do, we have to specify individual id, like if I want to get product with id 1, then I have to specify here 1, so it will return the id of that. Then if I mention here 2, then this id with 2 the product will return here. So like this we can use the get, we can retrieve the product based on the id of the product. I hope you are getting, and if you have any confusion then you can comment me in this video. Now we will see how we can update the existing product. Suppose it is mobile and I want to update this with the USB, then how I can update that product. Before update I want to say you one more thing, like suppose instead of id if I want the product using its name, so how we can achieve that. So let's see, we will use the same request mapping. We are going to pass here two parameters. The first will be value, and in this we will pass get product by name, and here we have to pass the name in the URL. The second parameter is method, and the type of method is request method is we want to get, so it will be get. And now let's write the method for it. Public, it will return the product based on name, so get product by name, and using path variable we will get that it will be string, right? So here we have to return the product like this. And we have to find using the name, but we don't have that method. So let's see how we can create that method. Come into the product repository. Here you can manually find that, like its type of product, and name of method will be find by name, and in this we are going to pass one name like this. Suppose if you want like this, why I have written like in product if you will see here, it is name. If I want to find using the cost, at that time I will write like find by cost. So this should be in camel case, like find by is the method, and here will be your column name. So I hope you are getting this. I will save this. I will come into the controller. Now let's see it is giving that method or not. In this find, now it is giving the find by name method, and in which we have to pass this name. Let's save this and let's it's running. So wait for that. So it's run successfully. Now again I'm coming to the Postman, and let's create call one more API like localhost, the port number, and get product by name, right? So we have to add first some products into the database. So I added the charger, then I again added the suppose USB, and call this API. So it's added. If you will call this get all API, get all product, at that time you will get these two products. Now I want by name, so suppose I want by this charger, then I have to specify here charger. You will get this charger. And if I want this USB, at that time I am going to specify here name of that product. So it will return you using the name of the product. So that how we can call the particular item from the database using its name. Now let's see how we can update the product. So we are going to use same request mapping. There will be two parameter value. So here we are updating, so update database, update product. The second parameter will be the method, and its type will be, we are updating, so the type will be put is used to update the data. Now public, it will return the updated product, so the product, and then name of that method update product. Now here we have to pass one product, so we will take that using request body. The type will be product. Now we have to update this. So what we can do is we will create one more object of this product, like existing object, existing product, and then we will get one product from this product repository based on the ID, suppose like this product dot get ID, and if it is able to find, means if there exists this product with this ID, then it's okay. If not, then we are going to return the null. So for that we have here we have to find by ID, so that's why we miss this find by ID. And here it will give or else. Here we will return the null. If it is not able to found, at that time it should return the null. Now what we have done, in the product repository we are finding using the ID, what in this product we will send the ID as well. So that ID we are finding in this database, and if it is not able to found, then it will return as null. So let's see now how we can return, how we can update the data into this existing product. So existing product dot set name, here we will get the latest product name like this. Then existing product dot set cost, here product dot get cost. So like this it will update the data. We have created one more existing product object. It will come it will get the ID from the here. We are updating the product name and the cost which we are passing through the Postman into the JSON format. Now we have to return this as it is. Return product repository dot, here we have to call the save method. In that we have to return this existing product. So this save method here will going to update the this product with this ID. So let's see it's working or not. I am going to save this. It is started on 9090 server port. So let's call this API update product from the Postman. Localhost port number 9090 slash update product. So let's add one product into the database like USB, and suppose second will be mobile. So we have two products in our database table. Now I want to update this USB suppose. So I will copy this as it is JSON format. I will select here put method because we want to update, and here I am going to select raw. In that I will specify as it is. The ID will be as it is. Here I want to change like pen drive, and the cost will be suppose 800, and I want to call this API, but here we have not still mentioned the type of content. So if we call, then it will give us error like unsupported media type, and the status will be 415. So here we have to specify which type of content we are sending. So we are sending here JSON, right? And now if I call this API, at that time you will get response this same what we are passing. And if we see in this get all product, here it is USB and 500, and if I call this API again, then it will change to pen drive and cost will be 800. So like this how we can update the data into the database. Now the last is like how we can delete the data from the database. So let's create one more method for that. @ delete mapping. Sorry, we will use here request mapping only. Later on we will change request mapping. The value will be I want to delete, so delete product, and here we have to specify which ID you want to delete, which product ID which you want to delete. And the second parameter will be method, and the type of request method is delete. Here we have to write one method like public. It will return suppose string. You can either return the product which you have deleted, and the name of this method will be delete product, and in this you have to pass, you are passing the ID, so you have to get that ID, right? So for that we will use path variable. The ID will be of string type and the ID. Now let's see how we can return it, so delete it. So here product repository, it provides one method like delete product by delete by ID, and in this we have to pass this ID, and here the type is string, so I am going to return like ID product with ID I will going to return here. Is deleted successfully. Okay, and let's save this. It will restart automatically, so wait for that. It's run successfully. Now let's test it once again, it's working or not. So what we need to do first, we have to add first the product into the table. To call this, for that first we need to add the product. So I'm going to add here this mobile, and one more I want to add, like charger, and just will send this. So here now we have two products with us, one is mobile and one is charger. So now let's call that API, like localhost then colon 9090, our API name, like get product by name, and then we have to specify the name, like it's mobile, so I'm passing the mobile. And if we want the charger, then we have to specify here the name, like charger, and send. So you will get this charger. But in the whole process we have not followed the MVC architecture. Till now what we have done, like we have created one application, that is product application. Then we have created one model, in that we have added 3 columns, like ID, name and cost. After that we have created the product repository to perform the which is extending the CRUD repository to perform the CRUD operations. After that we have created one controller to which consists the REST APIs, right? But in this process we are not following the MVC architecture, as we discussed earlier in the video. So let's try to understand what is the MVC architecture, what is the benefit of this MVC architecture, how it is loosely coupled. Loosely coupled in the sense you can easily modify your application. So let's start for the MVC architecture. After that we will apply the same architecture into our application. So let's start for the MVC architecture. Hi everyone, welcome to my tutorial. Now in this video we are going to see what is MVC. Now MVC stands for Model View Controller. It is an architectural pattern. Now what is an architectural pattern? An architectural pattern governs the whole architectural of our application. Now it is a kind of design pattern only, but it has a much broader scope. For example, normal design pattern are used for solving specific technical problem in our application, whereas an architectural pattern is used for solving larger architectural problems. So it basically affects the entire architecture of our application. Then MVC divides a software application in 3 parts: model, view and controller. So this is what we call as separation of concerns. So each of these 3 components will have some specific responsibility. Now let's see how an MVC pattern is implemented in a web application. So let's say we have a client, a server and a database. So these are the 3 main components of any web application. Now let's say our client wants to see a list of all products which are stored in this database. So our database over here will basically store information of different products. So it can be TV, mobile phone, etc. And our client over here wants to see a list of all products which are stored in this database. Now for getting list of all the products, our client will send a request to the server. Now let us assume that there are multiple people working inside the server, and each of them has some specific task. Now when the request comes to the server, there is a guy sending over here, and I'll just give it to nickname
just because if it's blue in color, and this blue will take the request from the client, and now blue will have to go to the database and get the list of all products and then send it back list to the client. But blue doesn't do it directly, and that is because we have another guy over here called red, who specializes in talking to the database or interacting to the database. So blue will now pass the request information to the red, and now red will interact to the database and with the list of all products from the database and send it to blue. Now blue has all the data, so ideally blue should send that data to the client, but the data which it has is raw data, so this data might not be in human readable format. Okay, so the client may not be like he or she will send this data, because it might be just plain text data. So we have another guy over here called green, who specializes in presenting data to the client. Now blue gives the raw data to the green, and green will format the data so that it looks interactive or attractive to the user, and green will take the data and arrange in tabular format and maybe apply some styling to it so it appears good, right? Now this formatting data will be sent to the client. So this is how an MVC architecture works. Now this blue, red, green are just nickname which I have given to this component. So red over here is model, green is our view, and blue is our controller. So we have model, view and controller pattern. Now let's look the overall flow of this. Our client will first send a request to the server, then the controller will take the request and pass it to model, and then model will interact with database, and in the process it may also execute some business logic if required. Then after getting the data from the database, it will pass it to the controller. Then the controller will pass that data to our view. Then the view will, and that formatted data will be sent to the client. So this is how our MVC architecture works. Now each of these three components has some specific responsibility, right? So now our model, it interacts with the database, and it is also responsible for executing business logic. So now our model basically deals with data. Then our view is what user sees on the screen. It generates UI for the user interface for the user, and our controller takes user input, also called as request parameter. It also interacts with the model and the view. So our controller basically acts as a middleman between our model and view. Now if we consider Java web application, then a model will be typically Java class, a view would be JSP page or any other presentation technology, a controller would be a servlet or a servlet filter. So this is our MVC architecture. Now how these three components interact with each other, that might be different for different MVC framework. So now how these components pass data between each other, that might be different for different MVC framework, but the overall picture will remain the same. At that is, the application will be divided into three parts. So there will be a model, a view, and a controller. So that's it, guys. And if you don't know what is servlet and this servlet filter, then I will try to put the link into the description, so go and watch my video. So now let's try to make our application into MVC architecture. So that's it. Now we have understood what is MVC. So now let's convert our project into the into the MVC architecture. So what we have to do, we have to just create one service for that, because we have controller and repository, we don't have service. So let's try to make one interface first, and let name it as service, and I want to put it into one separate package called it service, right? So it will create one interface with name service into the service package. So it's created. Now what we have to do is, in this product controller, whatever methods we have written, we have to write that definition into this. So I'll just copy one by one and I will paste it here. The second is for list product. Then the next one is for getting product by ID. Then the next is update product, getting product by name. Then the next one is update product. Then the next one is delete product. So here we have created the interface and we have put all the definitions into this interface. Now what we have to do, we have to create one more implementation class in which we will implement all this method. So let's create that. Click on new, create one class, name it as service implementation. And I want to put it into the implementation package, suppose IMPL. Now what we have to do, we have to, now it is class and we have the interface, so we have to implement that interface in this, and the name of this is service. Now it will give error because we have to implement that all the methods into this class. So like this we can implement all this method. Now we have our service. Now whenever you will create this service, don't forget to mention it with annotation service, so that it will automatically create the bin for you. So here it is giving the issues because we have named this service class as service, and so to annotate it is using that service class. So what we can do is, either we can rename it as with some another name, like it will be your service interface. You can keep that service as well, it will not create issue, but better to give some different name. So now when you will
when you will annotate, then it will work properly. So now what we have to do is, in the controller we have all this business logic, so we have to move this business logic into the service. So let's do it one by one. First is add product. Here the gate mapping test is not useful now for us, so I'm going to delete that. So the first method is add product. In that we are using this, so the same you have to copy and paste here. So it will need the product repository, right? So for that, copy this repository also and paste it in this. Now what we are going to do is, we are going to call, okay, first we will copy all this business logic into service one by one. So next is get all product. In get all product, what do the same, and then the next is this get product by ID, then find by name, then so we are not doing any complex thing, just we are copying our business logic into service layer. So here all the business logic we have copied into the service layer. Now what we have to do, we have to, instead of implement auto wiring this product repository, we have to auto wire the service. So let's auto wire that using service and implementation and create its object, and this object we are going to use now, and we have the method into the service implementation called as add product for that. So just specify that same method name. So do the similar for all the things like get product. Now from here we are going to remove this, we are just calling only these methods like service implementation dot get all product, like this. So what we are doing, we are removing all the business logic from the controller and we are moving that business logic into the service layer. Get product by ID, okay, this one, dot get product by name, then dot update product by product, then the last one is delete dot delete product. So this is how we can convert our project into the MVC architecture. So far what we have done, we have created one interface with service interface name, and we written all the method definition into that. Then we have created the service implementation, and in that we transfer all our business logic. So here you can see all our business logic will be in service, and if you want to do any validation, then you can do it into the controller. So it's done, and now let's see it's working or not. So here it is run on the 9090 port, so you have to just save at each time, it will automatically rerun due to DevTools dependency. So now let's come to the Postman and let's see our APIs are working or not. So first get all product, it will give the empty. Now let's add one product, charger, then add one more product, mobile, and suppose here will be USB, So we have added by mistake, we have not changed the ID, right? So here all the products are updated only. Let's see in the get all product. Let's look, because we have not changed this ID. So at each time you need to be careful, you have to change this ID as well. So 2 for mobile, then 80, then one more, suppose 3 for charger, and cost will be 90. So now when you will see in this, it will add all the product, and we are getting that. So now the next API is for getting product by its ID. So now suppose I want to get this mobile, the ID is 2, then I will specify that ID here 2, and I will hit that API. So I'm getting that particular product. The next API was the update product. So suppose in this, from this I want to update, suppose this one, then I will copy this as it is into this update. Instead of charger, I will specify here, suppose pen drive, and the cost will be 100, and I will hit that API. So here we got the same response. Let's see it's changed or not. So instead of charger, we have inserted pen drive. Let's see by calling this API it's updated or not. So yeah, here we go. Right now update is done. Now we want to delete the product. Now suppose I want to delete this first, so I will pass this ID here 1, and I will call this API. So the product with ID 1 is deleted successfully. Now let's see it's deleted or not by calling this API. So yeah, it's deleted successfully. The one more API which we made for getting the product by using its name. Suppose I want this pen drive, so I will use that pen drive here, and I will call this API. So we get the product by using its name. So far we have learned, like from start to now, like how to create the REST APIs. Then I also use the request mapping. Then later on we have changed this post mapping, get mapping. Then we have seen what is MVC architecture. Then we have converted our application into the MVC architecture by creating one more service interface and service implementation. So I think this is enough to understand how to create the REST APIs, how to perform the CRUD operation, like create, retrieve, update, delete. So this is enough to understood like how it works. And if you have any doubt related to this, so you can comment me in this video. I will try to reach out to you. And if you want a front end for this application in using the Angular, then you can comment me like this. So I will make one separate video in that we will see how we can create the UI and how we can call that REST APIs from that Angular web application. So this will be our full stack kind of application. So if you want, then comment me so that I will try to make that video for you. I will try to put my previous videos links into this description, so that go and watch that video as well. In the next video we are going to see how to host this how to provide this security to this Spring Boot application. Because now if you see, like this is get all product, right? And if I call this through my browser, like localhost or port is 9090 and get all product, so anyone like this can able to access our API, right? So there is no security for our REST APIs. So in the next video I will bring video for the API security, and that we are going to see actuator also, which is one of the most commonly asked interview question. So that's it for this video. If you have any doubt, you can comment me, and if you still not subscribe to my channel, then subscribe, so that you will not going to miss my upcoming videos. I will try to make like this interesting kind of and helpful kind of videos for you. Thank you.